Thanks, Natasha. Because the first question is on the theme. When we're discussing about the research, right, I think one of the themes that really stuck to us was the self-made, the first generation entrepreneur. And interestingly, IDFC is also an institution founded by the first generation entrepreneur as well. So a lot of synergy in terms of DNA, the character, intent, and everything there. But from your standpoint, what is your sort of natural synergy that you see in this list, in this report, and the initiative in itself?
Yeah. So if you remember 2023, when we first came up with this thought of working together, there were many ideas that we discussed. And first generation entrepreneurship, I think, naturally, felt like something that a space that we would feel very comfortable in for a few reasons. One of them you mentioned, right? It's founded by IDFC FIRST Bank itself. Is an outcome of somebody who started, who's a first generation entrepreneur, started an NBFC years back, and then merged with IDFC Bank to become IDFC FIRST Bank today. So that DNA itself is of being a first generation enterprise. And apart from that, what we also very strongly believe is that while family-run traditional, large businesses will continue to be the backbone of the Indian economy, but a large part of the incremental value creation will happen through new age first generation enterprises that have been formed and that are going to be formed over the next few decades. And having a very forward outlook towards everything that we do, and we thought this is a theme that's most forward looking, similar to the ethos and how IDFC operates, and that's where I think we zeroed in on this particular theme.
And because if you look at the top 10 of the list, this year's list, one interesting thing is that all the top 10 is B2C. And even the top 20, most of it is B2C, but top 10 is B2C, completely B2C. And in the top 10, I think 5 out of the 10 are high frequency payment cycle sort of business. I was trying to put that in my own layman terms. Let me explain this to you. Like Zomato, you need to buy food, or Paytm, where the consumers have to interact with technology and do financial transactions on a more frequent sort of basis, right? And in my perspective, it's more of how India as an economy is evolving. It clearly shows the penetration of internet amongst the more and more people, kind of shows more and more spending intent amongst consumers compared to what it was 10 years back. So that is very much required, at least for the next 10, 15 years, and to kind of grow and stabilize and all that stuff. But what do you, if you had like a crystal ball in front of you, what would you expect 10, 15, 20 years from now in terms of the wealth creation sectors to be? Is it going to be AI, new energy? I did mention a bit in my speech in terms of how far we are compared to our competitor like China in terms of these sectors, right? So how do you see that sort of evolving?
Yeah, so the first part of your question where you give examples of today's large new age businesses. So India is a country of 1.4 billion people. So it's a great consumer market. So any consumer market, consumer product idea, which is breaking barriers, which is solving problems and executing it right, will do well. And that's what most of our large new age businesses have done. Some of the examples that you gave, right? Solving what I also mentioned earlier, solving real world problems will not only scale existing markets and businesses, but create new markets, right? And that's what some of these consumer tech companies and new age consumer tech companies in India have done. But I think while not a crystal ball and a prediction, but what I believe very strongly is that technology, AI, use of technology, AI in new age modern manufacturing is, in my opinion, still extremely under the radar, not really operating at full scale. So I feel that is one place, and a lot of work is happening, there. So I feel a combination of, because manufacturing will continue to remain the backbone of the economy, right? While services and solving, reach, problems and scaling businesses using that is great, but manufacturing will continue, and whoever really applies technology and AI effectively and efficiently in modern manufacturing, probably to my mind would, make the biggest contribution in the Viksit Bharat roadmap for the next 22 years.
Okay. Now, since you see and advise some of the top families in the country through what you do, one of the interesting insights is that some of these most valuable startups in the IDFC FIRST Hurun list, they're all backed by family-run enterprises, right? And family-run enterprises and family offices, at least in the last few years, have increasingly started to play a very active role in driving value for the new age startups or the so-called self-made entrepreneurs, right? How have you seen that trend sort of evolving over the last decade, if I may ask? Of course, the last 5 years ago, but last decade would be more interesting.
Yeah, so like I said, family-run large enterprises will continue to play a very important role, how the economy shapes, if not in their own businesses, but like the role that they're playing through family offices in really powering the new age startup ecosystem. See, one theme that I always pick up and try and imbibe that in the business that we run is that you need to deliver, private banking, wealth management, or any financial services solution to these segment of customers in the similar manner as they have built and run their businesses, with the same ethos, same mindset, right? And if those ethos and mindsets are aligned in what we deliver to them, I think you will find success, right? For example, wealth management. I'll take an example of the business that I run. Wealth management 20 years back and wealth management today, what's the big differentiation, right? 20 years back, 25 years back, for you to kind of research, while there were annual reports available, there is Economic Times which publish all of data. So all of that research work was all manual, right? And it would require a lot of human effort in putting that together, and to which access was restricted to institutions like us, right? Today in 2025, all of this data information that I'm talking about, which 20 years back, 25 years back was restricted to institutions like us, is readily, easily accessible, available to many who wish to use that information in different forms. So which means there has to be far more transparency. Things that you did 20 years back is something that's not even a service that one is expecting, that's already available. What is the value that you bring much beyond that through data, insights, analytics, which some of these clients, customers may not have access to, right? And that is the same DNA ethos with which these businesses run, right? They run with not just with revenue as the ambition, but what are the problems they're solving, what is the value bring to the table, and that process itself creates value. And we also believe that, let's not look at, delivering value that, is already there. It's like I say sometimes, that it is, some of these things are table stakes. They're not even value creation. Value creation is when you go beyond that. And if you just mirror exactly what they do in their businesses in our journey of personal wealth with them, I think we will find success.
Okay, now that you spoke about table stakes, right? One of the things about these startups, and I was talking to Katia, who's here, Katia from Code. So we were having an interaction a couple of weeks back, and she asked me a question: how do someone create extraordinary wealth? So it's about massive focus, going after one opportunity and then working really hard, right? And that's how we create extraordinary wealth. And the problem that the self-made entrepreneurs would find, the first generation would find, is that they're all focused on creating wealth through a specific opportunity, and a cash out event happens. You create excess amount of wealth. So when the table stakes become real money, right? That phase.
Yeah.
So the fundamental question that would lie in their mind: should I buy a Lamborghini or should I? Where would I invest? So, jokes apart, when they come to you, what role do you play in terms of guiding these companies before they create wealth, after they create wealth, and do you see it just had an impact on how the wealth is managed?
You see, since these founders run these businesses, I don't think there's anybody else other than them who knows the strategy of better capital allocation than them. They know the business, they know what the moat of the business is. So it is like preaching the expert on how to run their business. I think what the roles we play is we just want to enable them with everything that's needed to support the growth of their business. For example, growth stage businesses who've raised enough capital, private capital already, may have working capital needs. So we can, the banking ecosystem can play a role there. Founders who are close to realizing value and creating personal wealth, I think there's a role that we can play there, very, very relevant one. And leaving a sustainable legacy, both for the business and for personal wealth. I think there's a very important role that institutions like us can play. You were talking about, how to create wealth, both in terms of value for business and personal wealth. A lot of times people ask for the formula for personal wealth creation, and I end up disappointing them by telling them that the response to that is something that you would not really anticipate from a wealth professional like me, which is that more than advice of a wealth professional or great product and investment ideas, more than all of that, one aspect that helps in creating sustainable growth is discipline. And not necessarily all of these. You could have all of these things, but if there is no financial discipline in how you go about, creating wealth, the outcomes could be very, very different, right? And that applies to both running businesses and creating personal wealth.